Senator
I'm sorry,
from Spartanburg.
I do not rise.
Senator from Spartanburg, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I rise for the purpose of a nomination for.
The senator from Spartanburg is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. And everybody, I'd like to thank you for the attention that you gave for the major on receiving the Order of the Palmetto from the governor. It's not every day that we get to have a World War II veteran amongst us. So I want to thank you for that. With that, members of the Senate, can we get a little bit of order, Mr. President?
Let's give the senator from Spartanburg some order. This is a very important matter.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I rise today with the honor of nominating for the office of President Pro Tempore of the South Carolina Senate my friend and colleague, Senator Kevin Bryant. I make this nomination very well aware of what lies ahead for our next President Pro Tem. And I'm very proud to support my friend and colleague, even though it will soon mean his absence from our body. I'm glad for him, but I'm sad for myself and the South Carolina Senate. I've been privileged to serve with Senator Bryant. I've been gratified to become his friend. And I'm proud to make this nomination for several reasons. But the main reason is that Senator Bryant has embodied, for me, a senator who remains true to his principles while working with all other members of the body to achieve positive gains for South Carolina. I hope that I've grown in that ability, and to the extent that I have, I owe a great deal of thanks to the senator from Anderson. Senator Bryant has achieved consensus on issues ranging from cybersecurity to school choice to our state pensions. He has led the way on the reform of the Department of Employment and Workforce, and even succeeded in persuading this body to use cash that we had on hand for our state port dredging instead of borrowing money and putting us in more debt. Being the one to work with him on this issue and help him achieve this, it taught me a valuable lesson, and I thank you for that, Kevin. His efforts to advance the cause of innocent life, they've been very significant, and even more so because it took collaboration with all of our colleagues who may have not been on the same side. The thing about these things that impressed me the most about Senator Bryant is they required him to remain aware and in tune with all the sentiments of all senators. He and I talk often. We talk a good deal about this, about making sure that the minority gets heard, because as oftentimes we were and still are in the minority. I believe he will continue to keep this mindset in his new role, and that makes me all the more pleased for this nomination. One thing I thought about Senator Bryant, and I want to thank him for, is probably the second year into my first term, I got frustrated when it would come time for have Rule 24s on the budget and have reconsideration votes and things that you had to make commitments for. He told me, he said, "Senator, they'll quit coming to you if once you make your commitment, you stand by that commitment and you keep your word." It served me well. I think it served Kevin well. And that's probably one of the biggest things that I think he's helped me learn in this body. And I want to thank him for that. On those lines, he's got a record in this body of respecting our rules, the members, and all the traditions of the South Carolina Senate. And I believe if he goes up those steps back there, he'll conduct himself with that same respect. Senator Bryant, he understands this Senate and what it takes to ensure that each member has their voice heard, whether it be It may be inconvenient to some, or it may be a little frustrating. He understands it. That's why he's the person for the job. Excuse me. From his fight for Jessica's Law in his very first year of the Senate, to just a couple of years ago fighting for the taxpayers back home in his home county of Anderson, he knows what it's like to be a senator with a lonely and difficult position. That's why I know he's going to treat each and every one of us with all of the care and respect that our rules will allow. There's one thing, though, that's probably going to be a small advantage for me. As Kevin and I used to talk about racing to the podium. Well, with him no longer in the chamber, I might actually get the win to the podium to stop a tax increase. So that's the one positive there. But members of the Senate, I'm proud to put in the nomination for the office of the President Pro Tempore of the South Carolina Senate, the senator from Anderson, Kevin L. Bryant.
Senator for Darlington, for what purpose do you rise?